Good morning, welcome back to the Daggerwin Multifarm with Freddy. You catch me this morning harvesting some lovely sugar beet. Unfortunately, I am pretty much full on this first pass. Got a few other people on the server as well, which is good. It's nice to see the server active. Yep, Vulture will do nicely. Decent horsepower. And the case magnum sat there. I could have used that. Yeah, never mind. All good, all good. Made a couple of purchases this morning. Well, effectively, yes. I might wedged on. There we go. Purchased fields 49, 50. I'll get my numbers right. 41, 40, 49 and 50. Nice expansion to the farm. So 4 extra fields. As you can see, we're sitting quite pretty financially again. Nearly back up to £1 million. I'll soon find money to spend that on. Especially as I've now been elevated to farm manager, or one of the farm managers. So I can actually make some changes and purchases for the farm. What farm manager effectively means is I can buy stuff. I'm trusted enough to make sensible purchases. And that is my intention with being farm manager. Just to make sensible purchases, expand the farm, do what needs to be done, and certainly not mess things up and make us bankrupt, which at this stage would be actually quite difficult to do. But no, that is not a challenge. No intention of messing the farm up. I've invested a lot of time into it myself, along with others. So my intention is definitely no messing up, no messing around, making sure we're actually on a good track and good path for making good money, expanding the farm. The plans with these fields, if I stop crashing into things, Field 49 is going to be converted into our second yard. So once we're done with harvesting this sugar beet, which this is a rented sugar beet harvester, because we've no intention at this point of doing sugar beet full time. We do potatoes, we're going to be doing carrots, possibly parsnips and red beet as well, because our current harvester can do all of those. So 49 is going to become the new yard, new second yard for vegetables and rice, normal rice, not the long grain. We've got a field for long grain rice already. So field 41, the smallest one, is going to be for normal rice. When I say smallest one, it's not that tiny, but small enough that rice won't be a horrendous task for everybody. So that is something we are trying to avoid. Fields 50 and 40 are going to be vegetable fields. So nice and close to the new yard. Once it's harvested, we're going to gravel or another texture it all out. And as a bit of a change, as we already have the productions within the cement factory and the sawmill, we are going to be doing constructables. Because why not? It's cheaper. That means we get to spend more money elsewhere. Like new machines, more fields, and expand the farm that way. So although we've got a good, healthy, profitable income within the farm, we will be able to actually expand quicker, more often, bigger, better tractors, because that is starting to become a bit of an issue that we've only got 2 real high horsepower tractors. So we're going to look at upgrading our fleet and looking at what machines we do have and what we need. One of the things I will be looking at is our seeders. At the moment we have 2 seeders that have done us very, very nicely through the time that we've had them. Unfortunately, they're getting a little small for our operation. As we have a nice big disc harrow, we're going to actually look at jumping from where we are to the biggest seeder we can get, which I'm sure a lot of the guys that are playing the server will be very, very happy with, because it means quicker turnaround of the fields. With a quicker turnaround of the fields, we can actually get back to work on other fields a lot quicker, and as we're expanding, that is going to be vital. I do need to have a look at our planter as well, make sure we've got one of the best planters we can. We've got a direct planter at the moment and quite a nice working width to it as well, so that is definitely very handy to it, so I'll be looking at that side of it. Do we need to go bigger in planter? If we do, then it will be added to the list. But really, tool wise, there's not a lot we actually need. Bigger seeder, biggest plough, possibly a bigger planter. Our fertiliser spreaders, perfect size. We don't have weeds turned on, so we don't need to worry about weeders and sprayers. Got a nice slurry tanker now, so we don't need to worry about that. Got a nice cotton harvester. There's not a lot really, apart from land and bigger tractors that have got a lot less hours on them. Not a lot we really need to buy. We can look at other productions, possibly. Maybe. And there's all these things to consider as a farm manager. Do we need? Is it just for the sake of it? These are always questions that you've got to look at. And is what you're going to expand into going to be profitable or a profit sink? Obviously you want it to be profitable. You want to be making more money. More money is better for everybody, better for the farm, better for the people that are playing. Is it going to be too long a job? Is the field you're looking at too big? These are definitely things I'm considering. The same as the rice field. We don't want a humongous rice field. We don't need a humongous rice field. What we do need is to be making good money. Speaking of money, I need to double check on this because we've got some oats in storage. 6.43 at the farmer's market, 6.49 grain terminal. So I'm thinking the farmer's market for the 222,000 litres of oats we currently have. The corn, June for the best price. And we want to wait for that best price because it is a bit of a step up from around about where we are. So look at that then. Something else I need to compile a list of for the crops we are growing and when their peak prices for selling. There are a couple of fields at the moment that do need harvesting. The cotton field needs harvesting, the long grain rice field needs harvesting. I'm just trying to focus on the project hand in front of me, as I've finished work this morning and only got a couple of hours before I need to head and get some sleep before tonight's additional shift, or second shift of 5. So just trying to ensure that progress is being made forward for the farm. Things are being taken care of. One of the other things that was asked is I'd actually put the wrong planks onto selling yesterday. So we weren't actually storing the correct planks to transport down to the playground, which unfortunate. So I've corrected that mistake. Put the long planks back onto storing, and the normal planks, which are full in the carpentry, onto selling. Now I'm going to change them back once they're all sold to distributing again, to ensure the carpentry gets a nice top up, and it has given us, I'd say, about £100,000 worth from putting those planks onto selling, just of what the sawmill was producing above and beyond what the carpentry could actually handle. So it's a quick way to get rid of it, the buffer stock, and then I can change that back to distributing to ensure the carpentry gets the planks it needs, and when we get a nice buffer again, I'll just change it back to selling. Or one of the other farm managers can do it as well, or anybody that has access to manage productions. So it's all little things. So I made a boo-boo yesterday. It happens. Players make boo-boos. We're all human. We don't worry too much about it. We just move on and get on with it. I have no problem with the fact I was called up on Discord and asked, oh, can you change this? Guys may not have been aware that I was the one that changed it. I'm openly admitting I'm the one that changed it, and I made a boo-boo with it. We still made some money from it, so not all lost. But certainly we're going to keep those long planks for now for the playground, because they are requiring them, along with more beams. And the normal planks that are currently in storage there at the moment are being consumed as well. But there is more normal planks there than what's actually needed by the buildable site at the moment, so not a loss. I haven't had a look yet actually for the best price for sugar beet, but pretty much because we've got no storage for it, and the storage is for sugar beet not particularly cheap. I think, if memory serves right, it's about £500,000 for a storage. I'm not going to be looking at storage for it. Just going to sell it straight off the field, straight to sell, make some profit off. It's a free crop that was in here anyway, so not an issue for our farm. As you can see from the top right, £957,000 in the bank. We've got no loan either, so we have got a nice healthy bank balance. And certainly with the bank balance we've got, I will not be looking to take out a loan. There is no requirement, and we can certainly look at this second yard and its construction projects, along with silos, fuel point, the sheds that are going to go in. There'll be a silo going in as well, and probably I'll be looking at carrot storage, because it's part of that mod as well for the root crop storage that we have currently on the server. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, we'll definitely be looking at those things for in the yard, also workshop as well, so that we can repair vehicles and don't have to drive them up to the main yard, because especially the the rice machines are not particularly quick, so having to drive them up to the main yard and back again every time they need a service is far less than ideal. I'm loving the fact I can see the trailer fill capacity whilst I'm unloading. That is awesome. I do love it. So we're 98%. So realistically, we want to sell. So let's have a look. Sugar beet, just beyond 196, 199. So farmers market, which is literally round the corner from here. Ideal. Wasn't expecting huge thousands of pounds per litre for sugar beet, but especially with the yields we get. Turn that off briefly because it is a hired vehicle. But even our own tractors, leave them off. Don't run those hours up. Don't run the service down. It's all good. Not the best horsepower tractor this for doing this job. It's another reason why I'm looking to upgrade our fleet. Get rid of some of the small, tiny tractors that we do have that have done us well for the time that we required them, and upgrade them to be much, much more superior and more suited to where our farm is at this point in time. And one of the main reasons I'm not really wanting to look at the used sale market is because I want those hours down. I want those hours at 0, because once you start getting beyond 50 hours, which we will reach, the repair costs start going up. Oh, apologies. So a bit of an insight there into what's going to be occurring on the farm. There's certainly plenty of plans afoot, and all the farm managers and the players do get an input into what's going on. It's not all, you've got to be a farm manager to actually be able to make any decisions on the farm. No. I'd listen to the people that are playing just as much as making my own ideas. Their voice is as important to me as my own or one of the other farm managers into what we're doing. Also, the admins have got a bit more of a say than I do. That's why they're admins. But generally, we've never had a problem with that. It's only when we're starting to hit towards slot limits and things like that for the console players that restrictions tend to be getting put in place. But we've not really come across that since coming across to Farming Simulator 25. 22 it was a problem because of the older generation consoles. The slot limit was so much lower and we could only expand so far. But at the moment, between the two farms, the slot limit hasn't been as much of a problem as historically it has been. Both farms have got quite a few productions, animals, and all things that are taking up slot limits. And we're both still moving along. Console players are still able to join and are not having issues. Farming Simulator 25 does not allow for the older generation consoles. So we don't have as much of a slot limits as what was available for Farming Simulator 22 for the next generation consoles. But we're nowhere near as restricted as we were for the old generation consoles. So it's definitely a much needed improvement, I feel. So for me today it's going to be harvest field 49 and 40, 2 fields of sugar beet, and start work on building this yard and start getting everything put together ready. Also putting down the rice paddy in field 41. And once I've up to a point that we're able, or we're as far as I can get, then start moving into our normal field, start getting them sorted, and we'll start looking at machines probably tomorrow once I finish work, because as I say, I only get a couple of hours after I finish work. So unfortunately I drive trucks for a living, so I need my sleep. I'd love to sit and play for hours after I get home, just get a couple of hours sleep and get to work, but it's not safe. And I know what fatigue to drivers does do, and it's not pleasant. Especially as I'm in charge of a 44-ton truck on United Kingdom roads, I'm rather responsible for it. Got to be safe. Especially as I do end up in and around big cities. Pretty much most of my driving, I do require my concentration to be up there and good. A lot of the supermarket yards I go to, because I do supermarket deliveries, it's not the most spacious of places to manoeuvre a big truck like that. Makes our yard look like a football field in comparison. Some of our yards are really only just big enough to accommodate the truck and trailer. Unfortunately, it is what it is. There's not a lot we can do about it. A lot of them are historical sites that we've had for quite some time, and they're not designed for the modern vehicle. A lot of the planning, when they do build the new sites, space for a truck is generally an afterthought of, oh, they should be able to get around there, and we just have to make it work. It's unfortunately just one of the things you have to deal with as a truck driver. It's been that way for a long, long time. Thankfully, some of the better, bigger supermarkets tend to be a lot more spacious for the places we get into. But we don't get them too often, unfortunately. Right, that's field number 49 complete. So it's probably going to be a couple of shorter videos whilst I'm in work. But I'll certainly see what I can do and try and attach things together. Especially let you guys try and see some of the things I do get up to as farm manager. So you can see some of the decisions that get made and things like that. Just so you're in benefit of seeing the decision process and some of the thought process I go through as well. And for those of you that are on the server, you've just got to enjoy what's coming. It certainly will be entertaining, that I can promise. Because we're not just looking at what's our next advancement now, we're looking the advancement after. We're always looking one step beyond where we currently are. Those plans don't tend to make it general knowledge, but that's because those plans tend to be quite fluid. We don't get bogged down with, oh, but this was the next plan, we were going to do this. It's very much of, this is the current plan, this is the expansion we're committed to, let's get that sorted, and then we're constantly thinking of what's next. But that plan can always change. If something comes up, a better idea, a better plan, funds for something potentially maybe bigger, or funds for, oh, we fancy doing something a bit smaller key. It's just whatever we do end up doing at that particular time. We don't get hung up with, oh, this was the plan and we wanted to get this, or or that. Those things tend to be, oh, we want this piece of equipment, or we want this one tractor. And then when other people go, oh, I really fancy this one, we can accommodate. For me, the 9RX was my big baby. And it has been a workhorse. There is problems with it. Console players are having issues where they get disconnected with it. So we have the Case Magnum as well, and we're looking to expand beyond that into other bigger tractors as well that more people will be able to get into. We'll be pulling around these bigger implements that we are going to be having on the farm. With that as well, I'm going to start selling off a lot of the smaller implements because we're just not going to need them. We're just going to be taking up slot count and space, and potentially money for buying bigger things as well. Other bigger tractors, medium-sized tractors, and the high horsepower range. We're also always looking at other mods as they're continuing to come out for FS25. I'm quite happy to pitch ideas and have other ideas pitched as well. So it's not just me, it's everybody on the server, both farms. And then we can potentially add them to the server if they're certainly good enough. One of the things we do try and do is try and keep things to a fair level of realism. Nothing too unrealistic. There are some mods out there that are just in the unrealistic side. For me, that's good, because I love the realism side. It is what drew me to Daggerwin in the first place. And when I'm doing single player games, which potentially could be coming on my channel, you'll see just the level of realism I do like to get involved with, which is much more than the server. But I appreciate we have to strike the happy medium on the server. Balance for being playable and allowing everybody to join in as well, because there are quite a few mods that do up the realism. And that are purely for PC only, which has always been a thing with the server. We are cross-play friendly, and we always will be. I don't think we've ever done a single map where it's not been cross-play. It's always been, we are not going to exclude the console players. So with that, may jump to me working on the yard, may not, depends how far I get along today and how much time I have left. So if it's not in today's video, more likely you'll get to see some of it tomorrow. In tomorrow's video, I'll certainly keep these going as long as I can do. And I shall catch you guys later. Have fun.